geoholic.
All right. That is something.
How about that?
Let's play a little.
Let's go for a little bit. I like this a lot. It's kind of like an Irish jig of sorts. We did just have St. Patrick's Day.
We did, yes.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm necessarily describing this as, but it's kind of cool. All right. Welcome back, Geoholics.
Welcome back.
Episode 248.
248.
248. Two away from 250.
2 away from 250. Back in studio. Too.
Unbelievable. It's so good to be back. I missed you, man. It's good to be back in the saddle with you. As weird as that sounds. It's kind of Brokeback Mountain-ish, but
it does sound a little weird, but I'll let that one go.
Yeah.
I really wish you were in Hawaii with us.
You know
we'll
what?
talk about it a little bit.
I will commit to next time.
Okay, deal.
Yeah.
Deal.
Yeah.
Wait, hang on a second. That's cool.
That's pretty cool stuff. Now would be a really good time for me to mention our playlist on Spotify.
It would be.
I'm
pretty sure this is the first time this band has been featured on the playlist.
Yes, no doubt about that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I want to say is that if you're not already following our playlist on Spotify, you need to. Because you're going to hear songs like this. You're going to hear the gambit of music. Like, this playlist is so eclectic because we have an eclectic group of listeners and guests, and everyone has a little bit different taste in music, and I freaking love it.
I do too. Yeah. I like the big variety.
Indeed. So let's mention our episode sponsor.
We can and should.
MLID. Have you heard about Wingtra Ground? This is a new thing that they've done.
I've heard about it.
We heard about it at GeoWeek. It's an all-in-one kit for aerial surveys. It combines all the elements of a ground control setup, GNSS receivers powered by MLID, checkpoints, and the necessary tools. It automatically connects to the Wingtra tablet, providing step-by-step setup guidance for fast and error-free base and checkpoint setup. Kind of a one-stop shop. This is amazing.
Sounds like it.
It can be used independently for terrestrial surveys, including point collection and stakeout for topography, boundary mapping, construction, and GIS. To find out more, which I'm sure you're going to want to do after all that, go to mlid.com.
Gotta say that Max over there at Wingtra and the folks at MLID, they did a pretty good job reposting and repromoting our interview with those two at GeoWeek.
It was a great interview, of course.
Of course.
Were they not one? Right? It was awesome. On that note, we kind of briefly touched on it. You were at the Pacific Rim Geospatial Conference in Hawaii. Tough assignment.
It was
rough being you.
This was the sacrifice that the producer has to make. The producer has to make of the Geoholics.
Yeah.
I fell on the sword. Myself and Dr. Nick fell on the sword and took the long trip to Hawaii. And I have to say, amazing conference.
Nice.
Amazing people. They had the most people attend. They were super hospitable and gracious that we were there. We had some great content. By the time this episode comes out, all of the episode we're actually releasing here shortly. Man, and this is a first. It was the theme of the conference was a collaboration and getting together. This was a true combination GIS survey conference. It was well represented on both sides. There weren't even sides. There were just geospatial professionals there.
Awesome.
And it was amazing. I was just mentioning to you guys, it was a 2-day conference and which required me to be in Hawaii for 11 days.
That doesn't exactly add up, but I'm glad that worked out for you.
It's all about acclimating and then deacclimating. I'm still actually deacclimating.
I was going to say, I think you're still in vacation mode a little.
Oh man, it's been a grind this week. Yeah. It's been a grind just to get back in the mode of caring as much as I should be for my position and my normal day job.
You'll get there.
But also, my parents got to come out. My family was out there. My mother-in-law.
Were you with Carrie Faber?
I was with Carrie Faber. It was a good time. We rented a car for about 3-4 days, and my parents had never been to the island.
Oh, nice.
They got to see the entire thing. We did the entire loop around the whole thing, and it was amazing.
So cool.
Yeah,
so
really
cool.
was.
That's the thing that I'm most upset about. It's not about missing the conference per se, but it's missing Carrie. I would have loved to have hung out with Carrie.
Got a lot of good quality time.
Next time for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And you did a little trip.
I was.
Took the other half of the studio on the road.
I did. Thank God we have two halves to travel with. And I had a very similar experience to yours when it comes to the hospitality, that type thing. I was at the ASPRS Gulf South region.
What's ASPRS?
America's Association of Photogrammetrists and Remote Sensing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but amazing. My buddy Bill Swope, he was the one that was like the head of the committee, let's say, putting on this event.
Oh yes,
it was unbelievable. Right. And like people that have asked me or people that I've shared my experiences with, I'm like, it's the best conference you've never heard of. It's only second year they've done it, but the synergy in the room was amazing. The technical presentations were incredible, on point. I was honored.
You moderated a panel, right?
Moderate a panel of geospatialists, surveyors, and other folks from across the geospatial community. Really enjoyed it. Great people, really good conversation, but just an amazing experience. So like we both had really amazing experiences at the two conferences we were at, representing the geoholics.
Exactly.
I already got invited back for next year. How about you?
I also got invited back for next year.
Did you?
I believe it's going to be in 2 years. I think they're going to do combined conference every other year.
Okay, fantastic. Well, we have that to look forward to.
Absolutely.
Very, very good.
And I do have to mention real quick, I mentioned that Dr. Nick was there, but Dr. Nick and Dr. Danielle were the keynote. They did an amazing speech at the beginning.
Nice.
I highlighted the geoholics in that as well. So it was really cool.
So cool.
And I definitely appreciate Dr. Nick and everything that he did. And he got a little taste of what it's like to be at a full-time geoholic. And he did an amazing job and really appreciate all his help as well.
Yeah, he's amazing. And coincidentally, he traveled back from Hawaii, like slept in his own bed one night, and then he was in Austin as well for the ASPRS conference. And the Bad Elf booth was right next to our booth, so we had some really good bantering, and it was a great experience. And I don't know if you noticed this new spiffy hat that I have, but it's from the Comedy Mothership.
Oh, that's
my podcast idol, Joe Rogan, of course, has the Comedy Mothership, and
you went to the mothership.
Went to the mothership. Had to get a hat and sticker and all that good stuff. But
you're such a fanboy.
Ridiculous, as a matter of fact, embarrassing to some degree. But anyways, all good stuff. Let's move on with this because we got an amazing conversation to get to yet this evening.
We do.
But before we get to that, we have the Topodot song of the week. Topodot as the industry leader in digital twin production from Point Cloud Data. But did you know that Topodot offers a total data governance solution for free?
TopoShare.
Free. TopoShare. Take control of your data with TopoShare. Create your own data warehouse, share and manage access to project data, and streamline your production process at the lowest possible cost. Discover TopoShare and more. Get this, we will be there as well. Topodot Users Conference happening May 5th through the 9th in Orlando, Florida. Registration is now open.
Yeah, check that out. Topodot.com, you can find out.
Topodot.com, that's where you do that. And they're actually adding something this year. It's a leadership forum on the very first day.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. Ted. It's Ted.
Well, we're going to have Ted on in a couple of weeks.
He'll be on in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, he'll be on the show, full episode prior to Tuck.
Ted's my buddy now, though. I got him on speed dial.
Oh yeah. I mean,
like when somebody asks you who's the most famous person in your contact list.
Yours is Ted Knack?
Ted Knack. Yep. You like that?
I do.
All right. So tell us about that opening number, Sean.
Everyone's dying to know. That's a musician group artist called Tenger Cavalry. That song was The Expedition. I'm pretty sure not a lot of people have heard of these guys or this guy. Tenger Cavalry was a Mongolian folk metal band founded in 2010 by Chinese musician, I'm going to butcher this, Nature Gangenbagen.
Works for me.
Yeah. I didn't probably pronounce that correctly, and I apologize to the family. The band uniquely blended traditional Mongolian music, including throat singing and Morin Kur, that's a horsehead fiddle, with heavy metal elements. Their music was inspired by the nomadic culture of the Eurasian steppes. Steppes. Incorporating themes of nature, war, and shamanism. Tango Cavalry remains influential in folk metal and world music for its pioneering fusion of Mongolian traditions with modern heavy metal.
Super unique.
Yeah. We'll hear a little bit more on them from our guest here in a second.
Yes. I'm a fan after listening to their music for like an hour today. It's like, this is really cool. It's like pump up music, get you going.
I can see why. I think
He makes you feel like a gladiator.
You mentioned, it's good music to have while you're working in the field. I can see that. Like,
totally,
you can get some shit done.
Indeed. We are, of course, in the Altera studio. Altera Central is the authorized premier Trimble dealer for survey, mapping, GIS, forensics, and marine equipment in Texas, Oklahoma, Arizona, and New Mexico. They also offer field supplies and can deliver them right to your job site. All backed by a service department with one of the fastest turnarounds in the nation. To find out more, go to alteracentral.com. Love the folks at Altera Central. Really, really good. We appreciate their support.
We talk about it all the time.
Yeah, we see them everywhere.
Yep. Also, I love to mention, go to the geoholics.com website, click on the marketplace. You can check out whatever the used gear that they have. If you need something, you can see what they have available. It's always changing. It's always updated. Yep. There's always great deals on there. Yep. We use it all the time.
Yep. And there's always deals for Geoholics listeners as well.
Absolutely.
If there's not, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but there should be. But let us know. We'll make a call because there should be.
All right. Next up, the Esri Weekly Pro Tip. Esri is advancing the power of geography for business, government, and society by making the world's most powerful GIS software. To find out more about them, go to Esri.com. What do you got for us this week, Sean?
I think this is a little timely, given the this is
National Surveyors Week.
This is thank your local surveyor week.
Hug your surveyor.
Well, in your case, yeah. All right, here we go. Associate with people of good quality, with good quality if you esteem your own reputation, for it is better to be alone than in bad company.
So interesting. Where did that come from? That is a freaking genius
that's your
quote.
Second favorite land surveyor. That was George Washington, founding father, the first president of the United States, and a surveyor. Yes.
Happy National Surveyors Week for everybody that's listening.
Remind me when we're done, and I'll give you a hug.
All right. Just a hug?
That's it.
All right. Next up, we have the GeoSearch Career Corner, looking to hire top talent in the geosciences. Get this, GeoSearch has you covered with a free, capital FREE, job posting just for Geoholics listeners.
No, that's what I'm talking about.
As a full-service recruiting company, they specialize in connecting top professionals with the right opportunities.
With their ad posting service, your job listing reaches nearly 34,000 engaged LinkedIn professionals, maximizing exposure to qualified candidates. And that's focused. That's a focused target audience there. Yep. That's a niche there. Don't miss this chance to build your dream team. To claim that your complimentary job post, email Liz, that's Liz, at geosearch.com today. And as always, happy mapping.
The GeoSearch. Those people, again, we have the best freaking friends of the program. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, we really do.
They're so supportive and they're so great. And I just want to mention that all of our friends of the program, if you reach out to them and tell them you're a Geoholics listener, there's going to be something special on the other end of the
just right there. You get a free, you can post a job on there. Yes. Usually that costs money. So just saying, if the motto is adding value and making friends, you can check both those boxes on this one.
Speaking of the best Friends of the program. Next up, we have the GeoNet count of the week. I love this because it goes up every single week.
It does.
GeoNet is the world's largest blockchain-based RTK network, providing RTK service precise enough for professional survey, construction, and drones.
Current count. 13,957 satellite miners. That's up from 13,434 just last week. That's like 500.
Yes, it's growing exponentially.
Yeah, 4,377 cities and 142 countries. And I know for a fact that was 141 last time we said this.
There we go.
They're already in a new country.
Yep.
To find out more, go to geonet.com. That's GEODNET. Be sure to click on the Find a Hex tab to see if you can put one on your house or place of business and start making money. And I'm going to ask you this every time we talk about it. Have you put it up this time yet?
Shaming me. Shame. Yes, I see what's happening here. I have not, but I'll be in Pine here in a couple weeks, and I will iron all of this out.
You do realize I'm going to ask every single week until it's done. I want to hear the story of how it was.
Yes, I will have a story at some point. I guarantee you. It's just not tonight.
Right.
But I got to tell you, anybody listening, if you have not checked out GeoNet, you are missing out.
It's wild stuff.
What they're doing is so cutting edge, and they're growing so rapidly, and they're providing an amazing service. I am blown away. If you stop what you're doing right now, go to geonet.com and check it out, and then come back and listen to us, of course.
Absolutely.
All right. Are we about ready to get our guest in here?
We are.
We should probably do that. Our guest, of course, this week is presented by Trimble Geospatial, dedicated to big thinking innovation. Together with their worldwide distributor partners, the Trimble Geospatial team is working with current and future generations of surveyors for a more sustainable future. To find out more, go to geospatial.trimble.com. You know what I just realized this week?
What's that?
Michael Dix is like the global, what is he now? He's like the global something developer. What's the word I'm looking for?
Cool.
I don't even know, but he's awesome. He's awesome.
Well, you mean like
he's got a new title.
Talking about like client? Is he marketing? He's the marketing guy, right?
Social media.
Yeah, social media guy.
Yeah, but like, yeah, he's got a great job. It's amazing, and the stuff.
Well, he's always been really.
Connect with him on LinkedIn if you're not as well. Sorry, Michael, for butchering all that, but
you're well deserved.
All right, we got Colin Sellers with us. So all I gotta say, Colin walks in. He's got a bright orange shirt on. He's got his headphones around his neck. He's in a freaking kilt with boots, and I'm like, I already know Colin and I are gonna be best friends.
Oh yeah.
He's like a Viking. This is amazing. So Colin was born in Kennesaw, Georgia. Grew up in Marietta, Georgia.
He's actually a dragon slayer, but we're here more.
We're going to find out more about that. Education. Deployed in Basra, Iraq. Thank you for your service, my friend.
Absolutely.
He attended an online college at American Military University doing general studies, then attended Pellissippi Community College near Knoxville, Tennessee. Hobbies, he's got a wife and 3 kids with the coolest freaking names ever. I'm probably going to butcher them, so hopefully he'll correct me. He's got Ragnarok, Reardon, and Rollo.
Yep.
Oh my God. All R's, all ridiculously cool names. His time is split between surveying in the field and being a dad. They have a bunch of common interests in the family. So he's always drawing, reading, playing in the dirt with toys, getting into some form of fun with his kids. I love that. His current job title is Land Survey Crew Chief at Blue & Associates. Career highlights include doing surveys in Djibouti. He surveyed the Flatiron Building, and he also surveyed the Caribou Ranch. Passion. This is the best part of the whole intro here. Passion to be good for his family and provide them with everything to propel them farther than he could ever reach.
Love that.
Top that, producer Sean.
Can't.
Colin, welcome to the Geoholics, man.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks for being here.
This is awesome. I am so excited that you're here. You're able to be here in student. You just happen to be working in Glendale, Arizona, and you sent me a message like, hey, I don't need to do this remote. I'm in Glendale surveying. Can I come to the studio? Like, are you kidding me?
We're
this is amazing.
Sure. And then he went to leave and he Googled it and realized it was still
an hour away. Yeah. He's like, I should have done this remotely.
Yeah, I thought it was 30 minutes away.
Great to have you, man. So talk about, there's a lot to unpack here. Like the bio information that you provide us was amazing, and we really appreciate that. But you spent the most of your formidable years, I'd say, in Georgia, right? Growing up in different places in Georgia. Talk about that. I know you mentioned you moved in with your grandmother at an early age. Kind of talk about that part of your life and how it influenced you.
I'll wrap this all up into surveying, but when I lived in Canton, it was an undeveloped Canton, Georgia. Okay. So just full of woods. A small subdivision, somewhere right off the highway. And I spent all my time in the woods. Whether or not I had like a machete that I shouldn't have had, during that time, doesn't really matter at this point. But I spent most of my time just going into the woods with my friends. And there was an old marble quarry that was shut down. And we weren't supposed to go there, but we did. I actually found a lot of property corners. I didn't know what they were at the time. Yep. They were just some flagged up metal in the ground.
So cool.
So after a few years there, I moved in with my grandmother in Cobb County to finish high school. Really, get that done. And a lot of my outside time was really just like walking to school and like bike riding to work and stuff. Like I started working when I was 14. Didn't have a car. So I just rode what was my mom's old broken bike.
It's awesome.
Just did that, did that all the time. I'll tell you all a quick story though. When I was like 7 or 8, there was this kid in the neighborhood, and he told me once, because I always wanted to adventure around and like find buried treasure. So he was like, yeah, there's a cave in the woods and there's a hog in it and it's full of rubies and gold. And I was like, really? Where at?
Awesome.
So I ended up going to try to find this cave. Ended up rolling up on them playing basketball, like beyond really where I should have been.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we totally lied to you.
Like, dicks.
Yeah, no, that kid was a bully, but it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
And, from there, from all the action of my, childhood into, really focusing on middle school and high school, just really read a lot of books and, still always had like maps on my walls and really just engaged in, storytelling and,
so awesome.
Focusing on high school.
So awesome. You know, it's so funny. Like the bully in my neighborhood, he's like, Kent, come up to my apartment, smoke some pot, and listen to Pink Floyd.
Wait,
totally different upbringing.
Wait, was that the guy? Someone asking you, or you asking the
guy? He was like telling me what I was going to do.
Been there.
Yeah. Hey, Stacey Humphrey, love you, buddy. Okay, that's really interesting. So do you think that kind of sets you up for being like curious and adventurous and like interested about like map making and that type thing?
Oh, dude, yeah. When I was growing up, probably, in the same age as Ken, I had a world map on my wall like the entirety of my childhood.
Yeah.
So every single day I'd look at the map. Like, where do I want to go?
Mm-hmm.
What are these lines? Where does this go? I live here. I want to go see this. And when I was around 15 or 16, I got like a stack of books from someone I worked from, and it was all marine archaeology. And so that's not so much something I could have done, but, because I wanted to find Atlantis. That's kind of where it all rolled in together.
Yep.
Like I wanted to find ancient civilizations and stuff.
Yep.
So all the maps of my childhood kind of focused into, I want to find specific places that don't exist anymore.
Yep.
And I got really into those books. I guess now that I think about it, that's really kind of set me up for what I do now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say everything in my childhood, because I was a wild child, man.
Sure.
I would run out. I would sneak out of my house. I would go find, trouble.
Yeah.
And it was always not in city places. It was, and I get in troubles in cities now, but I don't trespass anymore. I survey.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I would say all of that really rolled everything in by the time I found surveying. And that was when I was 25. So, all of my friends, I was really never really interested in math, to be honest with you.
Yep.
I was really more into history and English and all of that jazz.
Yep.
And, but I guess all the books that I read, because I would say books are like the main focus of, I guess, my teenage years, all kind of shifted toward map making,
So the Djibouti thing, what were you working on the base?
Yeah.
There? Yeah. Yeah, I have a good friend, Mike Fondren, and we just had him on the show not that long ago. He worked for Stantec forever, and that allowed him the opportunity to go to Djibouti also. And he worked there for a couple of years, actually. And what a cool experience. Having the opportunity to work internationally is something that's not on my resume at this point in time. I'm hoping to still get that opportunity, but that had to be an incredible experience for you.
It was really cool. And it was really cool. I think it was also a good foundation of how seriously I took projects because they gave us, the control points to go find. And I had this like old little plan, and like I've only been surveying for like 18 months at this point. So I had this entire plan, like we can, but the problem was when we got to Djibouti, they held onto all of our gear, all of our gear.
What the heck?
Yeah. They held. So I don't know why. I don't know the why. So we carried the total station. It wasn't a robotic. It was just a conventional instrument. I think it was a Topcon instrument.
Okay.
Well, so we get into the airport in Djibouti, and they don't know how to handle it. So they take it out and basically slam it down. Not like slam it down, but they
a little rough with it.
Way too rough with it,
Yeah.
And they're like, how much money is this worth? Blah, 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 blah. And so we get that back. But as far as our rods, our tripods, and all of the gear, the necessities, they held it for like a week. It was supposed to be like a 7 to 9 day project.
Okay.
It took 21 days.
Jesus.
So after the initial 7 days, we had to go basically bribe. And I seriously mean that. We had to bribe them, pay them every single, out of maybe 12 people, just Djiboutian francs here. Djiboutian francs here, Djiboutian francs here.
Yeah.
And it's simple stuff like typing on a typewriter. And so we eventually got the stuff. before that, because I had military experience, I rolled around the entire base. I went to the CBs. I got a tripod. I got a sledgehammer. I got rebar. I got, a commander's bike reflector to use as
like it's like a prism.
That's cool.
Like it's close enough.
It'll work for now. It'll work for now. And
what's the offset of that?
A few millimeters, I guess. And but it ended up working out. So that was that part was a debacle, but we got it all shot out, and we got the job done. It ended up being 20, 21 days, and we got to go home.
So overall, was it a positive experience?
Oh, dude, for me, it was a great experience.
Great growing opportunity, right? As a surveyor and just as a human being, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, no, it was.
Here's one of the things. We're going to talk more about this, but there's one thing that keeps coming to mind, especially with the stories that you're sharing. It is so important as a surveyor to be resourceful, right?
Oh man. Oh, yeah.
You have to be a resourceful person at every aspect of your job.
Well, and I also think that that's not said enough, and it's not talked about because I get it a lot. It's we went home for the day. Why'd you go? Oh, well, we were out there. We didn't have this. Well, like that. You can, grab the bike reflector and use that as a prism. So, because you didn't, you left it at the office. I mean, especially when, and sometimes working in metro areas get you a little spoiled.
Sure.
Because you're just I forgot this. All right, let me go to the Walmart over there and pick something up. Well, on a lot of projects that you're on, that's not a option.
It's not an option. Yeah. You got to figure out another way.
Yeah.
Really cool. And let's take it one step further, because you not only have you been to Djibouti, you've worked on some other really cool projects. The ones that stuck out in my mind was the Flatiron Building in New York City. I'm curious what you did as far as survey it, because that's that building on the corner, right? Do you know what it is?
Oh yeah.
It's an iconic architectural, structure that's unbelievable. What did you do on the Flatiron Building?
My wife calls it the Spider-Man building because So I was new to Blue and Associates, and I tried setting up my my GPS, which is a Hyper-V at the time, or a Sokia GRX. Love Sokia. Yeah. And
free plug. Don't get used
to it. Or if you could contact the Geoholics at info@thegeoholics.com, and then you could possibly get used to it.
We'd love for you to be a friend of the program, Sokia. Go ahead.
So I tried to set up the GPS. It's New York City. It didn't do it wasn't working out.
Yeah.
So I went total station and assumed my coordinates, but there was so much activity around the building. There wasn't really a good way to do any reflectorless shots. There wasn't really a good way to do it. So I ended up sketching it by hand and measuring every dude. You know how many 90-degree angles are on the Flatiron Building? Too many, and they're super small.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was an Alta, so it was a quick job.
Yeah.
But locate all of it, hand sketch.
You did an Alta on the Flatiron Building?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Which was cool, and I didn't really know its significance until after the job. Which fun's not fun until you're done. It's like
I like that.
So my same cousin and I came up with that phrase after we go caving, because when you're caving, it's miserable.
Wait, what's caving?
So caving
is that spelunking?
No, so spelunking is caving without gear. Caving is with you have a helmet, you have the flashlights, you have the basically everything you would need to be as safe as you can be in a cave. Spelunking is when you have your phone flashlight and you're just going down. So it's way more dangerous to spelunk than go real caving.
Yeah.
But I went caving probably a handful of times with him, and we're just driving back to some Mexican restaurant, to have lunch or dinner.
Yeah.
And it's fun's not fun until it's done. And I mean, I kind of disagree, because I had fun the entire time.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, for most of life, it's once you look back on it and you're not, just drenched in water or sweat, it's this was actually a great time. It was actually a great time. And so New York City was cool because I can drive like an absolute dickhead in New York City. And
you're just part of the crowd.
Yeah, dude. And it's so fun to drive through New York when it's not like bumper to bumper.
Yeah.
But dude, super fun to drive in a lot of the big cities across America. Like that's probably, I hate being in cities because it's, city,
sure.
But New York City's pretty fun to drive in. I highly recommend it if you ever get the chance.
Yeah. Right.
Don't be afraid to, do what you want.
Right. Yeah. Are you all the way in the left and you need to take that right? Just do it. People get out.
They expect
what
it.
are they going to do? Honk at you? Everyone's already honking.
It's like they expect you to be an asshole.
Right. Yeah.
No one's going to care. No one's going to care. They'll forget about it 10 seconds later. There's going to be another guy.
Yeah. So that was a super cool experience.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, no.
You've worked on some amazing projects. Talk about Caribou Ranch. That was another one that you included in your bio. I'm like, oh my gosh. I Googled it. I'm like, what a cool job that had to be.
Oh, bro, I have a picture of, so I have a friend named Tyler Coleman. Great guy, great surveyor. He lives in Boise now. I don't have a gun. So that area is west of Boulder, Colorado. And it is basically, so the entrance to the Rocky Mountains is somewhere else. But originally, it was going to be north of Nederland, Colorado, right at Caribou Ranch. There's like an open space national park that they sold that was part of Caribou Ranch. But, I guess the government decided to put it somewhere else and, do all that. And I didn't even know the history of Caribou Ranch until Tyler told me. And it's like Chicago and Val Kilmer has a house there. Oh, no. Michael Jackson stayed there a lot. I actually have a picture of sitting in the exact same place as Michael Jackson.
That's cool.
The house is like the rocks. Yep. They kind of, measured it out and was like, okay, if I sit right here, it's the exact same position. And awesome. Beautiful land, man. Beautiful land. And got to stand in a place where like probably no one has stood for at least 100 years.
Yep.
So that's really cool. And kind of a plug for surveying. Like you get to go where no one else goes, which is like part of the charm. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That was a 2,000 acre Alta. And we ended up, he was only there for a few days. So that took maybe less than.
So he being
Tyler. Yeah.
Tyler. Yeah.
So okay. I recruited him because he had a gun. He lived in Denver. So they asked, Blue asked me, hey, my whole position with Blue has become, I said before the show, like the Dragon Slayer, the Giant Slayer, because I like the biggest, hardest jobs because I can do them. Like it makes sense to me. I like doing it.
Why is that? Like, why do you feel you can do them?
So I don't know. I just like challenges. Not, that's like a really shallow way to say it. I get personal, like soul fulfillment from doing these almost impossible jobs. And it's not so much as like, oh, look at what I did. It's more like, it's not, okay, I'll say it like this. It's not outwardly to other people, oh, look what I did. It's more like, and take a little
internally, you're like, I've pushed myself to another limit.
Yeah, it's like,
right? And I'm going to push myself to the next limit.
It's more like, I can do this. And I have a spiritual strain to it. It's like, people pray to God and ask for help. I pray to God and tell him, watch me do with what you've given me. And that's
powerful, man.
That's like that's kind of how I see it more than anything. It's like, I've been given this strength at birth. We're all born into, we're given every bit of strength at birth. And I want to do that justice.
So that's a very unique perspective. Why do you think that you have been blessed with that perspective? Because that puts you in a minority of people.
I think it's just the challenges of my life. Not that, I guess people say, I feel people misuse the word challenge. But I just like it, I just like it. I can do it. And maybe sometimes I fail, but I don't care if I look stupid if I fail. Cause I'm just going to get up and try again. It's like, I'm happy to look stupid. As long as I'm learning and as long as I'm doing better the next time. But dude, surveying is so fun. And that's really like the main crux of it. It's so fun. I'm outside. I get to use high technology to make maps. I get to find crazy things that people haven't ever found. I was in Markleyville, and dude, this is another funny story. So 700 acres in the mountains. I'm looking, there's a program called Terrain Navigator Pro. Trimble puts it out. It's free, but it shows you the NSGS maps where it breaks down all the sections.
Yeah.
So I'm going around these 700 acres and part of it is just unsurveyed lands. Like that's how it was described, unsurveyed lands. And I'm like, cool. There's 5 mountains that surround this thing.
Right.
And I climbed every single one except for Thornton's Peak. That's really high. But so it's like
everybody has their limitations.
It's like the last 2-3 days of the project, and they need more boundary, and that's why I was sent out there. Some other surveyor who was sent out there for 7 days, found like two things.
Like when you're out on those remote projects like that, are you camping?
No, I'm generally.
Are you in any position where you can get to a road and hop in your truck and go home for the night or whatever?
Yeah. So I was living in Roseville, California.
Yeah, love Roseville.
And I only had my son.
Wine Country Curling Club, Roseville. Free plug. Don't get used to it.
Noted.
It's great. It's great country. I love California. California is. People have the wrong idea about California. Everyone who's anyone should move to California and just try to protect it. It's the best. It's the best land under heaven.
Let's talk about Smart Drone. Smart Drone Corporation is an American company specializing in drone mapping solutions, offering both on-demand services and industrial mapping products.
Indeed, their services include drone mapping and surveying, utilizing advanced LiDAR and photogrammetry technologies to provide accurate and efficient data collection.
And this one's really important. Smart Drone's product lineup features American-made industrial mapping drones, such as the Discovery 3, designed for high-precision mapping applications.
To find out more, visit smartdrone.com. GeoNet, the sponsor of the GeoNet Count of the Week.
That's right.
GeoNet is a decentralized real-time kinematics, better known as RTK network, that leverages blockchain technology to provide high-precision geospatial data for applications such as automotive, navigation, professional surveying, agriculture, and Web3 gaming.
Yeah, that's right. The network comprises a global array of roof-mounted satellite miners, low-power GNSS reference stations that collect and transmit real-time geospatial data.
Still got to get myself one of those miners.
I know, it's coming.
GeoNet's infrastructure offers centimeter-level accuracy by correcting GNSS data errors, enhancing the precision of devices like drones, autonomous vehicles, and IoT applications.
You got to check these guys out. To learn more, simply visit geonet.com.
Sean wants to move to California.
It's beautiful. So I lived in Roseville. So I would just drive. Out. I'd pull a long day, drive back out, and go home. One day, my son Ragnarok went out with me, and my wife, she was having some medical issues for a few days, and that's when my son joined me. And then once that was complete, she came out with me too. So it was a whole family endeavor going out to this place that no one really goes out to. And doing that. The funny part is the funny part is I ended up renting. I talked Blue into letting me rent a dirt bike because I was like, dude, this place is so
not an ATV.
This place,
a dirt bike.
This place is so crazy. I just need a way to get around really fast, because I could just go up the mountains and everything like that. It didn't end up going like that because I just wanted like 100cc, 150cc, something small. They gave me a 250cc bike. And I've never ridden a dirt bike before.
Oh my God. That's awesome.
You start on a 250.
So I end up, learning it pretty quickly. I get thrown off like 7 times and I can actually only use it for one day. So I tell Blue, I'm like, look, I messed up. I'll pay for the rest because I rented it out for 3 days. At the end of the project, like 2 days left, my wife is really interested in pioneer history. So she told me about the Mormon immigrant gaps and the Mormon immigrants.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So I'm going, there's one more section corner I can find. And I'm like, I'm going to find it.
Hold on a second. Have you watched American Primeval?
No.
Oh my God. I'm going to send you a link to it. It's unbelievable. It's ridiculous.
Cool.
You're going to love it.
Awesome.
Sorry.
No.
Sidetracked. Sorry.
I think
ADD. Sorry.
I know. I like that. That was good. I watched it. Yeah,
it's ridiculous. So good.
Cool. Send me the link, and
I'm going to.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
carry on.
So the farthest western part of this property lines up with this what is it called, the Sierra Crest Trail.
Okay.
And so I'm basically like in bear country. I'm just in the wild, and nothing to do with bears. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have let in with that. But I have my Sean said I'm really looking for something, and I've given up. I'm like, dude, there's no way, there's no evidence. There was evidence of something, but I didn't find anything. But there was this one white elm in the middle of all these pine trees, and I'm like, man, that's weird.
Something about that.
That's weird. So I go and I start, metal detecting, and I get something, and I'm like, oh no way.
Come on.
No way. So I start digging 1 foot. I start digging 1.5 feet, and I'm like, man, this is not.
You're still getting it.
Yeah. This is probably not a section corner. This is probably some Mormon gold.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm like, I'm just gonna look for I'm just gonna look for the gold.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So 3.5, 4 feet down.
Holy shit.
A GLO monument from like 1946.
Yeah. And
the only way I was able to get to it was like set 2 points. And use my
cross chain it in.
Yeah. And yeah. Well, no, I dragged my Google station out and I shot it in. Dude, one of the best finds of my life. I scarred up the tree.
So cool.
And I'm like, no one's not going to find this again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which ended up establishing.
It's almost like the Black Rock in Shawshank Redemption. Yes. Like the one thing that just doesn't belong in the
like the Barney Stone. Same thing.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Just keep looking.
You just want to circle back to the Irish stuff, don't you? You still have your
I have St. Patrick. I may have peed on the Blarney stuff. It was a night.
Oh man.
That's awesome. So talk about, and you are the perfect spokesperson for surveying. First and foremost, I'm not sure if those talents are being taken advantage of or used, but your passion for the profession is ridiculous. And, you mentioned all the things. It's like, if you like history, if you like math, if you like technology, if you like, problem solving and being being on an expedition, it's like, who wouldn't want to do this?
Who wouldn't want to do that?
Right? Who wouldn't want to do it?
Air conditioning people.
Air conditioning people.
Well, there's
yes.
I mean, it's not a coincidence that you like caving and this is your profession. There's some people that don't like caving. They don't care to go where no one else has gone to. And it's super, because no one else has been there. That's a hurdle they can't get over. You're the opposite. You're like, I want to go to the places that other people can't or haven't been.
I'll say this.
Why is that?
It's because I have a lot more courage than I do intelligence.
Ooh, let that sink in.
That's something I've reflected on myself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm just more courageous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I said, I just get fulfilled by it, Wow. And there's a specific type of person that does surveying.
Yeah.
There's never been millions of surveyors. And there's another quote, and I don't know who said this, and I don't even know where I got it from. Mm-hmm. It's just book somewhere.
Sure.
Only the last 10% of the spear stabs. So you have 100% of the spear. You need the shaft. You need the blocking mechanism. But it's that last 10% that actually does the damage, or that does the job. So it's not so much we need 100% people, because that's impossible. That's impossible.
Yep.
When you join the army, not everyone wants to be the infantry. I did because I wanted adventure. I wanted to adventure. And when I was 10, I started playing Dungeons and Dragons, and I always wanted to be a fighter, and I always wanted to, do cool stuff and adventure. You want those 10%.
Mm-hmm.
And that's who's going to invest themselves, because that's who always have done it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the surveyor, let's just say the archetype, is a person above time.
Yep.
You have people in time, you have people against time, and you have people above time. And those people above time are usually answering a call that's higher than, your basic needs. It's like, do I want to go into the frozen swamps of Minnesota? I do. I do for the journey, you know, like for the quest. For the quest. It's for the quest. You know what I mean?
Nice segue.
Like, thank you.
Yes.
But the whole, you know, the whole name of like for the quest is what are you doing?
Yep.
What are you really working towards? It's like, well, what I'm doing is for the quest, whether that is anything or if it's just personal to you. Why do you do the things you do? Well, it's for the personal quest. It's to answer the higher goal.
So are you internally motivated or externally motivated?
That's a weird question. So I'm really self-motivated. I'm really
So I think that means you're internally motivated. Like I consider myself an internally motivated person. Do you think you're the same way?
I don't consider you a motivated person at all.
Whatever.
When people say I can't do something, I'm externally motivated. But generally, do I get up? Do I work out? Do I do I have like these goals that I want to accomplish? Yeah. So I would say internally.
Yeah.
But then there's those
because who do you ultimately want to impress or please?
Sounds like yourself and your family, but
yeah, no. I mean, myself and my family. I mean, I just feel like I have
and maybe you don't need to impress anybody. You know what I mean? But there's something that drives you. What do you think that is?
Well, I grew up poor, and I didn't grow up poor, but like, have you ever heard the phrase like fumbling your privilege?
Mm-hmm.
So my grandfather was a mechanic in Lockheed Martin, and he was a really smart dude. Fought in World War II. He actually helped establish the California Lockheed Martin.
It's awesome.
And dude, that alone, it's like, okay, well, everyone else should do well. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it just degenerated from there. And I feel like I've been crawling out of a hole my entire life, just striving to do better. Yep. Because that's why that's why I believe that's why we are alive. People, I think Rene Descartes says, I think, therefore I am. But I think it's I am, therefore I think. So it's like we're here, and I'm going to segue into surveying. We are here to observe, measure, and define this thing that we're in. Yep. Like that's the higher calling of surveying. We're here to put pillars here. We're here to, like, if life is gray, we're here to make it black and white.
Yeah. So
order can be established and people can build, because you can't build in chaos. You need people to focus on surveying, or not even just surveying, but whether it's engineering, whether it's surveying, building societies.
Sure.
And it starts with the first shovel dig.
Sure.
We have to define the boundaries of the world that we're in.
Yep.
And I think it's extremely important. I mean, it is extremely important. It doesn't even matter what I think. Like, whether or not I exist, like, you have to have someone who does it. And the fact that surveying is either not in the public sphere or it is not being shown to be important is extremely, extremely concerning. Because, back in like 1930, 1920, 1910, 1900s, there was no separation between, and I'm just saying this from my perspective, of what a man should be. So back before a lot of our modern entertainment, a man was supposed to be intelligent and strong. Well, that's what a surveyor has to be, intelligent and strong. And that's how you build societies.
Yeah. Sean, are you hearing this?
Yeah.
He's not talking about engineers right now. He's talking about surveyors. Intelligent and strong.
I'm taking it all in.
You got the intelligent part.
And
best compliment I've gotten today. Well, go ahead. Keep going.
And it's, I think, to get back into your original question, I want to prove that, humankind can go back. Sometimes the way to go forward is to go back. And I just want to remove not so much from, I guess that's kind of against what I'm saying, but remove the boundaries that's been, thrown onto us.
Yeah.
It's like, whether man or woman, we can all be intelligent and strong. And that's what we have to be.
Yeah.
And by taking on these challenges, by slaying these dragons or these giants or whatever, I'm showing at least my children, you can do it. And all you have to do is try.
All right.
And I tell my kids, all you have to, because, I have another buddy in Georgia, and, his father was that successful guy. it's like, and he says, I'm never going to be my father. I'm like, and it's like, well, that's super sad, dude. But I tell my sons, it's like, dude, the only thing you have to do to be better, I'm using quote fingers, better than me is to try.
Right.
Like that's all I figured out.
Yeah.
Like all you have to do is apply yourself and try.
Yeah.
And
yeah. And like there was like you mentioned something in your bio that maybe you talked about like Ragnarok, right? Ragnarok. You guys like you've actually taken him out and surveyed with him and stuff, right?
Oh yeah, 14 days in Nebraska.
Like yes,
he was
good,
bro. Maybe I should say this on the air, but he's a really cool kid. He's really cool. He's gonna be coming.
I think for labor law rules, let's just call him a 15-year-old kid.
Hypothetically, if I had taken out my son, like we tried a few different things because we were locating power poles.
How old was he at the time?
15.
Yeah.
Yeah. Minus like plus or minus 9 years.
Yeah.
And so I had an open bed truck at the time, and I
threw him in the back.
No, I did. I threw him in the back. I I had a fixed rod, a Sakia rod, and I unscrewed it so it's like half. So it's like maybe 3.5 feet.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, look, when I pull up to a power pole, I just need you to put it right there, and I can do the offsets. And I can, we can do this. Yeah. So that didn't really work out. He did great, but it just didn't really work out the way I wanted it to. So I ended up running the rod, and he was running the data collector. And I was like, look, this is what you have to do.
Awesome.
This is what you have to type. Just don't press buttons without me telling you what to do.
Right. And we can
get this done. And that worked fantastically. Yeah. Like he's a great kid. He likes adventure too. And it was, dude, take your sons, take your daughters out, because Reardon's next. Yeah. She's 4 right now, but she'll be 15 anytime soon.
Yeah.
And
she's on pace.
She's on pace, whether she likes it or not. But just, I would highly recommend take your kids out. Have faith that they will listen to you, that they will be engaged, because they will, man. A kid, son or daughter, your child wants to have a great relationship with you.
Yeah.
They want to have a great
and it's those experiences that do it. That's what they'll remember.
Totally.
Circle back to For the Quest. You kind of broached it a little bit, but you talked about the name, but talk about what that is and what you're doing with it.
So my company's name is Adventurology, and we've been developing a video game on mobile, iOS, and PC, Mac, for like the last two and a half years. And originally, it was called Quest Board. It was a collection of section corners in beautiful places that people could go to, and just see the view. Because I've had 3 experiences in my life in separate states, California, Colorado, and probably Nevada, where I dropped to my knees, and I'm just like, thank you. Whatever brought me here. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because, dude, beautiful.
Yeah.
Like 2 ridges go like dipping down, and you can see in the distance, like right on the horizon, blue mountains. And there's a section monument right there. There's like just a inch and a half wide pipe. Yeah. Just right there.
Yeah. You're like, I get paid.
Like I get paid to do this.
To be this.
Like I'm
to be here right now. This is ridiculous.
Like, it took some time to get here.
That's what people don't understand. They don't get that part of it. Like surveying can take you to the most unique places.
So that's what inspired me to do Questboard. And there's a funny story that I could tell about that. But so I beta tested that Questboard with a few of my friends, and I'm like, hey, go here. You can do whatever you want at that point. And, here's some restaurants if you want. Well, that ended up being way too much like a travel agency to me. And I was like, I'm not that guy. This has not become fun anymore.
Yeah.
And, because the original phrase to go around with Questboard was everything for the quest. So I'm talking to my wife, Laura, and I'm just like, man, I just don't know of a name, man. I just don't, I'm not getting out of this? And she's like, well, why don't you just call it For the Quest? And I'm like,
Genius.
I'm glad I thought about it.
Yeah, right. I'm glad I came up with that name.
No, all credit to her. All credit. She's great. She's an amazing woman. Crazy. She homeschools her kids. She, takes care of the house. Like she travels with me. Like so wild. And so that's where For the Quest was born. I'm like, well, I can merge the fun of surveying action RPGs. And I can just put that together because it
RPG being
role-playing game, an action role-playing game. Yep. So if you like Borderlands or Diablo or the Elder Scrolls games, even Pokemon Go, that's not so much an RPG, but that's like a GPS game that's really popular.
Yeah. Is it all like a kind of like an AR augmented reality kind of where you're combining those two?
Yeah, Pokemon Go is an augmented reality game where you can see little Pokemon if you roll, right. Catch them and everything. I get linked up with a Canadian developer, Tyler Burns, the man. The only reason this game is here is because of this dude. Great guy, love him to death. So we hook up. I tell him the idea. I'm like, look, this is my idea. I can pay you. What do you think? And he's like, I think it'll work. I think, so I started laying out my vision. I buy a book on game designing because I've never designed a game. I've played Dungeons and Dragons and I've written stories and, 40 pages of a short story and stuff like that. But I've never designed a video game. So I buy a book about it. I eat it up and I'm like, okay, I can do this. I start making game design documents. I show him. He gets the gist of what I'm going for. He sets up the GPS side of it. So I already showed you all this before we started.
Yeah.
So cool. It didn't really look like that when we started. It was just like, a basic green land and, roads and stuff. And then I tell him my vision for what the actual game's going to be. It just grows from there. And it's been a lot of struggle getting it financed. So I basically just, that's when I started the data collection side of adventurology. So I have some gear of my own and I just start working on the side. I don't want to use the company that I'm working for's gear because I think that's ethically wrong.
Sure.
So I start doing small stuff. I know a guy with some gear. Can I borrow it? Awesome. So I do that one and I do this and I do this. Some extra money comes in for whatever reason and start paying into it.
Yeah.
But let me tell you about like the surveying part of it. So like Pokemon Go has waypoints, whether it be like a coffee shop or anything, a monument, down the road or whatever. Yep. And you can access it, get Pokemon, go to, do Pokemon stuff. So I still wanted to show people surveying and section monuments because I want to show them the most beautiful parts of our country. And I cannot stress that enough. People don't understand how beautiful this country is. It's wild how different it is from the East Coast to the West Coast to the North and South. It is wild. Sometimes it looks like an alien planet. How beautiful it is. I didn't know that there were frozen swamps in Minnesota. I didn't know the vastness of the deserts in the Southwest. Yeah. I didn't know how tall the trees were in the Pacific Northwest. I didn't know, how beautiful Nebraska was. I heard Nebraska was not beautiful at all. It's gorgeous, dude.
Yeah.
See, now everybody's going to move to Nebraska. That's the influence we have.
There's a difference between visiting and moving to, but continue.
So the main thing I was focusing on was the section monument. So you have quests in For the Quest, and you choose. You log on, you choose one. And you're like, okay, I'm going to go to this national forest. They have to be approved section monuments in our team because, they're not going to be every single one because normal people trespass, surveyors survey. You know what I mean? We don't trespass unless, someone's really angry about it. So, normal person logs on. They go to the position, whether it's in a national park, open places, some monument, they get to it. Mini game, a few mini games on the way. They get to the section monument and so they do raise their phone, augmented reality, and they see a dungeon entrance. Whatever that will look like, because the scheme, it will be every region will have artists and musicians to capture the history and the music of that area. It's not going to be, the same dungeon in Georgia. A dungeon in Georgia is not going to be the same area in like Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Or around there, or California, so on and so forth. So you get to the location, raise your phone, you access it. And there, the mini games is, I don't know if any of the listeners will know the Elder Scrolls game, but there's a mini game where you pick locks. And the user interface is going to be similar, but it's geospatial mini games.
Nice.
Whether it's like, sections broken up, mile by a mile with the interior, breakdowns and all that jazz. Whether it's line up the section to where you're at. So, whether it be, gray points and you're just lining up with other, there's a mountain right here, there's a tree right here, whatever. That'll be one. There's another one where it's just an elevation game. It's like, well, what elevation do you think you're at right now? So you raise and lower the bar to where you are, just giving someone like a horizontal or vertical, mindset of where it is. My favorite is the triangulation puzzle, where, you have a certain polygon that you have to line up with some like given points. And all of these games are going to have, easy, medium, and hard mode. Easy mode for children, there's no time limit. You can just line it up. There's enough points where they can make sense of it.
Yeah.
Medium, there is a duration, so on and so forth. And I have a few others. And, there is one special one where you are actually using like GLO notes and surveyor notes to actually
that's so cool.
Figure out where you're at.
Yep. So there's so much you could do with this.
There's so much.
Well, who would nerd out on this is Russ Hall.
Well, Russ, Dr. Nick.
Oh yeah.
They're Dungeons and Dragons guys.
Yeah. And I've heard him mention all the games that Colin's just talking about.
Oh, killer.
We'll make those introductions.
Yeah,
no
don't
problem.
worry.
No problem.
Yeah. I guarantee you he's going to be your first super fan.
Yeah.
So after, you have the dungeon, you get something called a dungeon token. And that dungeon token is specific to that dungeon. It'll have all the seeds that you can access. Yeah. Every dungeon is procedurally generated. So every single time you enter is a new adventure. Right now, with the assets that we probably have like 2 million something weapon types, whether it's like swords, axes, maces, all stuff like that. Yeah. And that's... How
about like a killer robotic total station? Just like whacking people with a total station.
I can make that. And the more
you already mentioned the machete. That's a given.
But we already saw like some of the different swords. Like, that's what it'd be like. One of the tools is a tripod. You can just hit somebody with it instead of a sword.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the cool part about that is I'm working with Dustin Gardner.
Yep.
And he came on. We met, simpatico, killer dude. We kind of met halfway, and we're like, okay, this is definitely a friendship. It's
awesome.
And so he's actually coming on Adventurology and basically being like our lore master.
Nice.
He wants to write a few books about it. We are working together to build the world and the player interface as far as that goes. Yeah. And I'm not going to tell y'all the entire plan.
You can't, right?
But
now.
It's going to be heavily involving surveyors and surveying in the game also. So you'll have groups of surveyors within the game and stuff like that. So I'm not going to go too much because that's
sure, of course. Yeah.
But it's cool. It's cool. So you get
the whole idea is cool. This is amazing.
So you get the dungeon token, and the cool thing about that is you can trade it with other players. So if we're in Arizona, you get a dungeon token from Arizona.
Yep.
And there's a 5-star tier to it. So you can now trade that with someone like in Florida. And now you can access that dungeon region in Florida as long as you trade it and stuff. And hopefully the interface inside the game will propel people to be like, oh, well, cool. Finding that wasn't too hard.
Yeah.
I really like this. I'm going to go get another one.
Yeah.
And another one. And another one. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And build up. And every single time they go after one, they're going to have play these mini games. And the higher difficulty, the better loot, the better dungeon experience you're going to get.
Sure.
So, I imagine, out of 1,000 people, people will play. have fun. It's a dungeon. It's a you know, action RPG looter. You know, you go in, kill some monsters, and get some cool loot, and you know, you're done for the day.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a type of player that's like, man, I'm pretty good at this. I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to play all the time. I'm going to be the best or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I mentioned. You know, the 10% of the spear. That's who I'm trying to reach.
Sure.
The people who were like me, who had no direction, no idea about surveying, but if I were introduced to it at 10, my entire life trajectory would have been 100% different.
Mm-hmm.
So that's who I'm trying to reach.
Yep.
The people who can be reached, the people who want to be reached. Because it's not going to be, you know, the math nerds. It's not going to be the gamer nerds. It's going to be the people who are able to do it and want to do it, which is the niche that we all work in.
Well, you got to get out of your mom's basement to play this, right?
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
But
I mean, putting on, not, you know, changing out of sweatpants is a requirement. So you may weed out some of the people, but you'll get to your core.
The air conditioning people aren't probably going to play very much.
Well, back to the air conditioning people.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
So
you're an air conditioning person, Sean.
So that was a joke, but
you play golf, I guess.
You don't know me very well. Yeah, I play golf.
When Pokemon
in the dead of summer, who does that?
When Pokemon Go came out, you know,
I remember it was huge.
It was huge, and people who weren't getting exercise they wanted to go out and adventure, or they wanted to go out and, you know, like, I want to go to this. Blah,
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So I've seen that now, not, you know, like, it's Pokemon, you know what I mean? Like, I remember being 10-year-old and want to catch them all, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, sure.
So will it have like that initial popularity based on a previously popular game? Not like that, but I've seen the evidence that people do want meaning. They do want to go out of their homes. Yeah. They do want to go see stuff, especially now. Like if I look at, you know, statistics and rates of people, you know, how culture is changing. And when I was growing up, I just want to play video games. I just wanted to stay inside and play video games, you know, like now, whether or not that was because of my socioeconomic area or whatever, it doesn't even matter. Nowadays, people want to be outside. It's like, well, we're done with video games.
Yeah.
They're not done, but you understand what I'm saying.
They're like outside still playing a video game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, come out. Just put a toe out. Put a toe out.
Well, it also gives people a reason, and, you know, like, people don't naturally have a wandering spirit. Not a lot of them do. But they may, you know, you want them to get out there to experience. And sometimes you need to have just some reason. And then all of a sudden you look up, like you said, and, oh man, there's this beautiful ridge and there's all this. And you never would have seen that unless you actually.
So much to see.
Yeah. And like half the time you end up seeing stuff just because you're on the way to do something else.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times has that happened? You never would have stopped by that thing unless you decided to drive to there and you stopped on the way. But that initial reason to get outside is what has to push people out. And this sounds like that.
I like that.
Is you got to. Otherwise, it's I can
be an active participant.
Google Street View. I can see the same thing, but this is different. This is like, no, you actually have to go out and find it, and then pull up your phone, and then the action starts.
And the dungeon token interface is, you can play it on your phone at the top of wherever you went, or on the trail or whatever, if you want to, or you can go back home. Your account will, you know, you have that token on your account. You can access it on your computer at home, drinking hot chocolate in your nice air conditioning.
Nice.
Well,
you know what I mean?
You say that, but you're just here for the first time, but you're not here in July, and it's not the climate is not conducive to long walks outside in July.
In the desert.
Yeah.
We have one dungeon location in the Sonoran Preserve. It's just a mile and a half out, mile and a half back.
Yeah.
2 trails.
That's cool.
And that's
so interesting.
And that's like a level 2, you know, like level 2, level 3 dungeon. You're just walking out, just grabbing it. It's like a nice rock cairn with a, you know, X on top of the rock. And you walk right back. Easy peasy.
It's like a geocaching type thing, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a geocaching component to this.
And I think once people have a natural community about it, just like geocaching, they'll start to add things to the location.
Yeah.
So, because there are good people and they want everyone to play, especially this is geared toward young people and, kids and families. So it's like, well, not everyone's a surveyor. Hopefully they become one, but I need a little bit of help. Like that section corner, I think it was the southeast section corner of section 30, just north of Phoenix. I can't remember, but in the Sonoran Preserve. Yeah. And, dude, it took me like 10 minutes to find. There's no evidence out there for it. There's like a T-post, and it's hard to see with all the brambles, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was easy to get to. You just have to walk like 50 feet, 100 feet, out off the trail and go get it.
Yeah.
So that's really what I'm gearing towards. It's not like the impossible task. Will I add the impossible tasks? Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Oh, of course you are.
I want to.
For that highest level. Right?
I want those people like, oh man, I want to go get the thing that no one else gets.
One of our newest friends of the program, Emlid. Emlid is a company specializing in high-precision RTK GNSS receivers and software solutions for various industries, including, of course, land surveying, construction, and drone mapping.
As our weekly episode sponsor, their product lineup features the Reach RS3, a survey-grade receiver with IMU tilt compensation. That's a big deal. The Reach RX, an ultralight multiband RTK rover, and the Reach RS2 Plus, a versatile multiband RTK GNSS receiver suitable for both rover and base station applications.
Well done. Well done. That was a mouthful. Emlid offers software tools such as Emlid Flow, a mobile app for data collection in the field, Emlid Flow 360, a cloud-based application for project management, and Emlid Studio, free software post-processing kinematic, static, and drone data.
To learn more, simply visit emlid.com. NLC Prep. Welcome back.
That's right.
Welcome back. NLC Prep is an online platform dedicated to helping individuals prepare for land surveying exams, including the FSPS, Texas RPLS, and California PLS exams.
That's right. The platform offers various resources such as online courses, hard copy practice exams, and pre-programmed calculators to aid in exam preparation.
NLC Prep provides flexible product options, including monthly course subscriptions, full-length hard copy practice exams, comprehensive online courses, and combination packages that bundle multiple resources.
Yeah, the results don't lie with these guys. If you need help, it's they don't want to say that's a guarantee, but it's pretty darn close. To learn more, simply visit nlcprep.com. Is it possible to have one of these dungeon tokens go to an actual dungeon?
I thought about that.
Are there actual dungeons?
Oh, of course.
What?
I mean, they're going to be cave. Well, I had this crazy idea, like putting a QR code at the bottom of a cave. Mm-hmm. So you get to the QR code and you just click and you get it. Mm. But then my friend was like, well, what? Someone's just going to post it on Reddit and then everyone's going to have it. I'm like, man.
Yeah.
When we were in Hungary, in Budapest, we went to a dungeon, like just an underground thing.
Was it just you and Lexi, or
it was just Lexi and I? And
okay, interesting.
And it got.
Was she the dungeon master, or were you?
We were. I'm not going to comment on that.
Were you co-dungeon masters?
It's just we were just walking through this thing, and it's like we couldn't even make it all the way through. It started to get like too dark, too tight, too much, and we were like, we had to hightail it out of there.
All very interesting,
but. All these other people are doing this with us, but it's still that you felt like you're on this adventure that no one else had ever been to, and you were just walking down the street, and all of a sudden you went stairs, and all of a sudden you're in a literal dungeon.
Pretty cool.
But so segue into that, cool. The cool thing about For the Quest is wherever they're surveying, For the Quest can be. So this isn't just an American thing. It can be in Japan. It can be in Europe. It can be in Australia. It can be in Africa. It can be in South America. It can be anywhere. Russia, Scandinavian lands, wherever people survey and have survey monuments of some sort, there can be this interest bubbling up.
So what's the timing on, you said some of that there will be, I know you mentioned there's already a beta, there's an alpha. What's the timing on release and going forward?
So the hope is, or the projection is, this summer we're going to have it released.
Okay, cool.
So there's going to be probably during the first part of the second quarter of this year. Thanks. There's going to be like the heavy testing on it.
Yep.
But after that, we should be able to fully release it.
Do you need testers?
We need testers and a lot of, we need to drum up some interest, and we're going to start a Kickstarter right now, moving into California. So I've been paying for this. I've been financing this myself, and it's like tens of thousands of dollars. Yeah. And for right now, I'm done. Like, I'm not done, but I'm tapped out.
Tapped out.
I gotta get a house. Like my wife's pregnant.
Congratulations, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much. It's my third son, Rohan.
I was going to ask what the name was.
So it's names. Amazing.
Ragnarok, Reardon, Rollo, and Rohan.
Where did these names come from?
So Ragnarok is actually every single one of my children's names is like
a Viking series I watched.
A boardroom meeting negotiation between me and my wife.
Nice.
So we're making backroom deals. We're like, hey,
it sounds like either you or her won all of these negotiations.
Well, Ragnarok was actually a really good one because I wanted to name him Ragnarok because my grandmother, my grandmother that I went to live with, his grandmother came from Oslo, Norway. Her last name was Goldbranson, son of the Golden Sword. And I love that, you know what I mean? So, and I've always been down with Norse mythology. And I was like, well, let's name him Ragnarok. And she's like, I'm not naming my son Ragnarok.
What's going to be the short form of that?
Ragnar.
Oh, that's badass.
So Ragnarok means twilight of the gods. Ragnar means warrior of the gods. But the way that I got it was her favorite book is Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. And in it, there's Ragnar Danishold, the pirate that stole from the government to give back to, the taxed corporations and taxed people. So she was like, look, if we can call him Ragnar, we can name him Ragnarok. I'm like, dude, yes.
Well, why didn't you just leave it at Ragnar though?
Well, I just wanted, I wanted to give him something to think about in his life.
Yeah.
And the name Ragnarok means twilight of the gods, where the final battle Ragnarok happens. And basically that's the rebirth of the world, like the wolf Fenrir kills Odin, does, all the things that they do, and the gods have to rebuild. So the humanity comes back up anew, what I mean? So I don't really speak to my family anymore. I wanted this next generation to be the new one. You know what I mean? Since he's my first son.
Nice.
Reardon came from Reardon Metal. Hank Reardon made a metal for railroads that was light and strong. So my daughter, light and strong. Rollo used to be Rollo, but my wife Laura didn't want him to have the nickname Rolls. So we named him Rollo.
Yeah.
And then Rohan is from Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
It's Tolkien wrote the country of Rohan, because that's sick. Yeah. His name is going to be Rohan Sebastian something. All my kids have four names. Huh. So Ragnarok, I'll just touch on this for just a second more. Okay. Ragnarok, Odin Canoe, Wallace Sellers. Reardon is Reardon, Aurora, Loki Sellers. Rollo's is Rollo, Pierre, Dempsey Sellers. And all we have for Rohan is Rohan Sebastian. Like
you got a little time.
Yeah, we have a little time. We have a little bit of time.
What about Geoholic?
What does
incorporate that into
what does Gro Kowalski mean in Polish?
Polish for bonehead.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do not have the
pedigree of
no.
So Dempsey came from the crew chief that the master to my apprentice.
Yeah.
30 year surveying veteran.
That's so cool.
Dude, Dempsey. So one of my older friends, he's probably in his 70s now, but he called me Conan once. Yep. Because I would go do stuff. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And he's like, Conan, because my name's Colin. It's only 2 letters from it.
Yeah.
And he's like, Conan, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Donald Dempsey was the Conan. Like, dude, this good dude could do anything. Yeah. And you asked me earlier who I wanted to impress or what do I do or why do I do what I do is because I had that guy.
Sure.
That guy impressed me so much by what a man could accomplish if he had the knowledge and the will to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember this one day, there's this thing called Cherokee Rose. And, the Southeast is a mess of kudzu and dryers and stuff.
It's horrible.
So
we had it in Southern Illinois. It was the worst.
Dude. It's miserable. Yes. Especially in the summer. It's just like heat stroke, man.
It's the worst.
Stroke.
Yeah.
So he's like, well, this is the line we have to cut through here and we can traverse. We're doing like this route survey on a Deadwood Creek, or I can't even remember what the creek's name was, but it was, just to do a greenway. And so I'm like maybe 2 years in, maybe a year and a half, something like that, man. Super young. And I'm hacking away at this bush and it's like 10 minutes. I'm like barely into it. Yeah. And he's like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Because there's another helper, doing it. And we're barely into it. And he's like, what are y'all doing? We have to do this, And I swear to God, he grabs my machete out of my hand. And in like 3 swipes, he's already through. And I'm like,
there's a technique.
You're like, there's a technique.
There's a technique to using machete. Yeah. Like the angle that you go, depending on what you're going through. Yes.
And that dude, he, when I got onto SCI for originally got into SCI, there was 3 crew chiefs that they were they had a few new guys. And they're like, well, who do you want to work with? They're kind of giving us the choice. And, they name the first 2, as I've been like for 3 months, I've been surveying for 3 months. I don't even know. I haven't even really figured out what a backside is. Like it took me 3 months of just like constant.
You're more of a line cutter at that point.
Yeah. I'm just the dude. You know what I mean? I'm a bag carrier.
Yeah.
And, they tell me about the first two guys and they're cool guys. I like them a lot, but they're like, well, Donald has gotten 5 dudes fired. He is the hardest guy to work with and blah, blah. I'm like,
that guy,
I want him.
Yeah.
And I told him once, I was like, look, I'm going to absorb every single piece of knowledge that you have. Mm-hmm. And eventually they brought me back in, a review or an evaluation, how those things go.
Yep.
And I'm like, I'm going to be that guy. Yeah. I'm going to be your guy you call on to get the things that you need done.
The Dragon Slayer.
Like I'm going to be that. Well, that dude, that didn't come up until like way later. So I started working for Blue in 2018, November. I didn't even know I had a narrow view of what it could be. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I have a joke and I hope no one minds that I say this. It's called the Blue Flu. And I only say the Blue Flu because I work there.
Yeah.
And you get to a job that's so immense and you're alone. Yeah. You feel sick. You're like, oh my God, where do I start? Where do I start in this?
Yeah.
And usually
overwhelmed.
It's an overwhelming job. I call it the Blue Flu because, I love Blue. They're good. They're really good people. And they've sent me on some crazy adventures.
Yeah.
And just so everyone knows, if you get to a job that you don't know where to start, just locate some backup curb.
Yeah.
Just start somewhere. Just do one line. Just go find one.
Just establish a point of reference.
Put something on the map. Just start, and by the end of the day, it'll be gone, and you can do the rest of it easy peasy. But Donald Dempsey, man, and I named my son after him. And I told him, I was like, dude, cool, I'm giving him your last name.
What an honor! Cool. What an honor, Sean. If you will, name your next child after me.
One,
I would be forever indebted.
One won't have one. 2 wouldn't even if I did. Trying to move forward, not back. We do have to wrap up. It is. We're getting to
I want to ask you one thing.
I know you got a couple last questions.
I got one question.
Okay.
Before yours.
Okay.
Because
I know I want you to answer this one.
Such an interesting person. One of the more interesting people that we've had on the show.
He's right here. You can say you are an interesting
this guy right here. Yes. Yeah. And I have loved this conversation. So I want to ask this question. You may have seen it, but if you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, whether it be about life, career, family, what would it be? And you're not that old. That's why it's an interesting question.
So I'm not the same person as I used to be, and I'm very happy about the growth. I would go back and tell myself, everything you do with gusto. Do everything without fear. Just do it with gusto. Don't be afraid of whatever people think. They're not even thinking about you. Do it with gusto.
I think I stole your thunder on that, as a matter of fact, 'cause that's also probably his mantra.
Probably, but
well, I have a family mantra.
Let's get to that.
But I have to say that taking the shame out of failure and working kind of with letting that fear go has been a common theme that we've talked about on the show. And I love that aspect of it. So I got to segue into the last question we ask everybody. You are aware of it. You said about 17 so far on this episode and this interview, but do you have a mantra that you live by?
The family mantra. I am dying to hear this.
So I made it.
And is it like on a shield written in Latin somewhere?
No, is it tattooed on all your kids?
Right.
No, I tell my kids
at birth.
They're absolutely tired of me saying this, but they'll grow into it. Be courageous and know what you're doing. Because it has two meanings. Be courageous in anything and everything you do, but be courageous enough to know what you're doing. And that's my family motto. And that's what what I think about. I say one more thing about For the Quest.
Please do.
Yeah. And say something and make sure to remind our listeners how they can find more info.
Oh, so I'll lead off with that. So I'm on Instagram, Conan the Surveyor. And that's my main account. It used to be Colin the Surveyor, but my wife asked me to be a little bit more anonymous, but now it's not anonymous at all. So my name's Colin. But
my name's Colin, everybody.
But it's Conan
the Surveyor.
I go by Conan the Surveyor on Instagram. But the For the Quest Instagram is for.the.quest. For the Quest on Instagram with a period in between the letters. There's a donation link over there because I'm tapped out for at least the next month or so, but before I buy my house. The last thing I want to touch.
Where are you going to buy a house? Like I just don't see you being the type of person that's going to settle down somewhere. It's like you're like a survey gypsy. You're constantly like on the move.
I know.
Where are you going to buy a house at? I'm so curious.
When you have 4 kids,
so you got to settle down at some point, I suppose.
Gypsy family.
So it's going to be east of Modesto.
In California.
In California. Okay. I love California. I'm going to get licensed there.
Nice.
I haven't pursued licensure because I didn't know which state. I take it seriously. I take it dead serious, like almost on a spiritual matter. And I saw the rest of the country, I've seen a lot of stuff. I want to get licensed in California, and I want to be a California surveyor and survey the northern line before they make the state of Jefferson. Last thing about For the Quest, I think you mentioned there's going to be a biometric component where you can have a ring on or a health watch or something like that. So everything that you do in the real world is going to directly affect your character. So not only will you be going out to fetch the monument, you're going to become the character that you're playing.
So crazy.
Everything you do is going to be tied to the actions that you do in the real world because I want it all to be out. And I'm also on a previous episode, y'all talked about what was it? Digital twins.
Yep.
We're going to, with the permits, if we need permits, fly the areas of the section monuments, the most popular dungeons, and release them on virtual reality. So, and we're going to craft that virtual twin as the parallel world that For the Quest is coming out of. Because
so you really don't have to leave your basement.
Well, you got to pay for those. Those aren't going to be free. The mobile game is probably going to be free, and then the
other adventures.
Right.
Yeah. So that's going to be
pay to play.
That's going to be you have to buy the DLC to access those because it takes a little bit of money to do that. But I just wanted to touch on those two last points.
Sure.
About For the Quest.
Oh my God, dude, you're amazing. This has been a great conversation.
It's quite fortuitous that we are you're here and you could be in studio.
It's
crazy, it was meant to be.
Yeah,
it's one of those things is meant to be.
It really is.
But like my mind is racing at a rate that it normally doesn't.
You can start playing video games?
No, probably not. I might get a PS5? I don't know what it is. Play some golf games or something like that.
If you get one, I'll get one, and we'll play golf together.
My birthday's coming up.
Ooh,
let's do it.
Yep.
You get friends of section monuments.
Yeah.
Oh, then there's that. There's so much that could happen with what Colin is doing, though. This is amazing. Like, I'm already thinking about people I need to make sure we introduce him to.
I know.
Tom Hebert, the dinosaur hunter.
I know.
Oh, my God. That's a match made in heaven right there. Anything else? Colin, you want to get out there before we let you go?
No,
this has been fantastic.
Yeah.
Visit the Instagram. My main account has a lot more content on it. I suck at social media, but hopefully that I have someone in mind to take that over. But yeah, please visit the Instagrams, Conan the Surveyor and for.the.quest. Yeah. And just check it out. See what's possible.
Nice.
I love it. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for what you got going, and hopefully we can help you out along the way.
Absolutely.
Here we go. Bam. Adding value and making friends. This has been phenomenal. Check that box. If anyone would like to be a guest on a future show, shoot us an email at info@thegeoholics.com. Mm-hmm. Tenger Cavalry, the expedition, available everywhere, especially on Spotify, just like our playlist. Until next time, everyone, bunch of takeaways.
So many takeaways.
This is what I got. You might want to add to this, but these are amazing. Fun's not fun until you're done. Love that. Don't be an AC person like that as well. Only the last or the first 10% of the spear stabs. The first or last? The first 10%.
The
right?
first 10%.
First 10% stabs.
The spear.
Be part of them. I am, therefore I think. Check out For the Quest, of course. Do everything you do with gusto. Be courageous and know what you're doing. Most importantly, be safe and healthy, everybody.
Love it.
Did I cover it?
You got it, buddy.